Donc, bien sûr, il parle de nous. He's talking about us. Le corps de la réalité, the body of reality, is big. It's huge. It's boundless. Le corps de la réalité est grand et vaste. Il est sans limite. C'est une activité. It is an activity. Et il y a des pensées, and there are thoughts. Il n'y a pas de penseur. Thoughts without a particular thinker. Il y a une activité, there is an activity, mais il n'y a pas de faiseur. There is no doer. It's just happening. Ça arrive, ça se produit. I like the idea of mountain. J'aime beaucoup l'idée de montagne. Mais mount, you know, the idea of mountain, but mountaining would be more precise. L'idée de faire montagne, de montagner, c'est plutôt l'idée de la montagne. Donc pas, not just river, but rivering. Pas la rivière, mais riviérer. Ça pouvait se dire. On dit pas, hein? On dit pas riviérer.
Maintenant, oui.
Ah, on dit riviérer?
Depuis cet instant.
Ah, he says, from that moment, we can say rivering, or riviérer. Pourquoi pas? Donc c'est une activité radieuse. It's a radiant activity. C'est ouvert. Et ça prend tout. It's all inclusive. It doesn't pick up. Ça ne prend pas, ça ne choisit pas. It doesn't choose. It doesn't say, I don't want that star. I take that cloud. What about that mosquito? No, no mosquitoes. On ne fait pas de choix. Je veux pas ce nuage. Je veux pas ce moustique. Non, non. C'est complet. Complet. Donc, tout est assis avec vous. Everything's sitting with you. Alive. Très vivant. Alors, ça me rappelle en fait que l'activité qui n'est pas divisée, un undivided activity, c'est we cannot break it down. On ne peut pas casser cette activité. You can't remove something out of the picture. On ne peut pas enlever quelque chose de l'image. You take it all, you swallow it up. On le mange, on le boit, on l'avale complètement. Swallow it up. Don't leave anything behind. On ne laisse rien derrière. Donc ça, it reminds me of a conversation with Danny, with you. Ça me rappelle une conversation avec Danny. Conversation about karma. Une conversation à propos du karma. Karma, action. You see, we all would like to get a grip. On voudrait comprendre. We'd like to get a grip. Why we here? Why are we doing this? Why we are meeting that shit? Why we are chewing that unpleasant things? Or these pleasant, very pleasant things. On voudrait comprendre pourquoi on vit ça. On voudrait en fait essayer d'avoir une prise intellectuelle sur les choses que l'on rencontre, que l'on vit. Comment on en est arrivé là? How did we get there, really? But in our tradition, in Zen, dans notre tradition, dans le Zen, on n'essaie pas de comprendre logiquement. We don't try to understand logically. Oh, you know, I've been doing this and that's why now I'm here. On n'essaie pas de dire, ben voilà, j'ai fait ci, j'ai fait ça, et donc voilà pourquoi je suis ici maintenant. En fait, on se contente, on se contente, we just become intimate with things. On se contente de devenir intime avec les choses. Ça veut dire, quand on est heureux, on rit. When we're happy, we laugh. When we're sad, we cry. Quand on est heureux, on rit. Quand on est triste, on pleure. We express emotions freely. On exprime les émotions. Emotions become the tool with which you touch reality and reality touches us. Les émotions deviennent des moyens de toucher la réalité et d'être touché par la réalité. So it's not about, Zen is not about a kind of ataraxia, is it? You know, in Stoicism, the lack of emotional involvement. Hello. Help. À l'aide. Non.
Paroxysme.
C'est ça.
Hmm.
Ça. Ataraxie?
Oui.
C'est ça. C'est ça. So in Stoicism, there is this idea that in order to have a balanced state in life, you have to remove yourself from the emotional state, not to get caught by it. Donc en fait, dans le Zen, in Zen, we totally allow ourselves to be emotional. Why not? Just we are crying, we are laughing, we are dancing. And we do not try to control or understand. On n'essaie pas de contrôler, de comprendre. Not the problem anymore. We don't try to manipulate reality. On n'essaie pas de manipuler la réalité. Parce qu'on est plus intelligent que la réalité. Because we are more intelligent than reality. So I'm going to control you so you don't control me. You see that kind of approach? C'est très paranoïaque. It's very paranoid. Yeah, very paranoid. C'est très paranoïaque. C'est ce que Trungpa disait. Trungpa used to say, meet things that are raw. Rencontrer les choses directement, cru, sans manipulation. Donc c'est chaud, c'est froid, c'est froid. C'est salé, c'est salé. C'est amer, c'est amer. So, hot is hot. Salty, salty, sweet is sweet. Bitter is bitter. You don't try to correct the taste, make it to suit your little need and want. So it's the same when we eat food. Generally in Zen, we don't choose. Dans la vie, dans le Zen, on ne choisit pas la nourriture qu'on mange. On mange ce qu'on reçoit. You eat what's given. You take it. No preference. I hate the water of the bowls. Okay? Je déteste la flotte des bols. You know? This water tastes like ambrosia.
No,
Nobody likes it. But in a moment of drinking it, no more choice, no more pick up and choosing. And you know what? It goes down, and that's all right. Ça marche. Je peux manger, je peux boire, ça marche. I wouldn't go to a restaurant to pay for this shit. J'irai jamais dans un restaurant pour acheter cette merde. C'est pas possible. C'est dément, c'est ce truc avec des trucs qui flottent. C'est horrible. It's horrible. But it's possible to drink this and be completely okay. And you know, did you have sometimes the feeling of vomiting when you look at it? Oh, yes, yes. And then you overcome it. You just say, okay, that's all right. Donc, en fait, voilà. Donc, renoncer, to give up renoncer à la volonté de contrôler la réalité, to give up controlling reality, complètement comprendre. Dans le zen, c'est vivre. To fully understand in zen is to live fully. C'est vivre complètement. So, whatever comes, comes. Quand ça vient, ça vient. You take it, tu te le prends. Bam! L'ami, ok. L'expérience mauvaise, ok. The friend, all right. The bad experience, all right. Hi, salut, au revoir, bye bye. Okay. You take it, you take it. And you don't tell yourself stories. No, he's not, she's not going. No, I'm not losing my job. That's not true. You see what I mean? On n'essaye pas de se raconter des histoires. We really take it as is. Raw. Raw. On le prend, mais vraiment sans pur, dur, sans dilution, without dilution. So it's not about being spiritual, superhero. C'est pas être spirituel. It's not about looking good. Pretend that. Now, Dainin was talking about these samurai zen, these guys that are pretending that they are hit. You're just, oh. And to be honest with you, when I started practicing, I thought there was something real about it. I thought I had to look like that. You didn't you? Yeah. I think we all did. Yeah. Quand on a commencé à faire zazen, à pratiquer, on s'est dit qu'on devait ressembler un peu à ça, enfin, une espèce de machin, this kind of thing, a bit straight, a bit stiff, a bit, with something up the arse. Quelque chose dans le cul, tu vois, et vachement raide, very rigid, very tight. And that was happiness. Happiness? No. Balance? This? No. I don't think so. Je pense pas. Et and precisely, the teachers or life will create accidents like the choco box today, or la vie va créer des incidents comme la boîte de choco aujourd'hui qui s'est cassée la figure, ou bien le maître il va faire quelque chose de complètement à côté de la plaque, or the teacher is going to do something that you don't expect, or the chicken's going to get into the dojo and a chicken into the dojo. What do? Nothing.
Give it as info.
Raw. Right, so it's about being who we are, really. Just simply that, being who we are. Ce que nous sommes, être ce que nous sommes. I don't know if you remember, I once posted a video in which I said I was depressed. Dans une vidéo dans laquelle je disais que j'étais complètement déprimé. It was true. I was down, j'étais complètement et que c'était comme ça, and it was like this, and Zen was like this, and it was all there was to it, hein, c'est ça? It was shocking for many people. Taigu is depressed.
Le maître de Zen est déprimé.
Le maître Zen est déprimé. Et tout le monde était, c'est pas possible. J'étais dans la vidéo complètement, je sais pas, voilà. Ouais. En fait, quand je ris, et quand ça va pas, ça va pas. Je n'ai pas besoin de faire semblant, de prétendre le contraire. We don't have to pretend the contrary. We are just exactly. And you know what? This is fantastic. As soon as you accept things as they are, dès que vous acceptez les choses telles qu'elles sont, it's getting already better. Ça va déjà beaucoup mieux. Le problème, c'est pas être déprimé. The problem is not to feel down. The problem is not willing to be down. Le problème, c'est qu'on ne veut pas être là. Donc, on n'est pas content. Et non, c'est la résistance, la résistance, ça crée le malaise. Create generate the unease about it all. So as soon as you say, well, that's fine, you know, moon-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha, Buddha au visage de lune, okay. And then sun-faced Buddha, whatever, okay. Moon-faced Buddha, moon-faced Buddha again, sun-faced Buddha, you know. But that's death, c'est la mort, c'est la vie, that's life. It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, and that's all right. They say okay. Nobody said that you had to be even. Personne ne vous a dit que vous deviez être pareil du matin jusqu'au soir, iron up like a wonderful sheet of fabric, you know, just perfectly even. No. There's a lot of, you know, imperfection in your stuff. Il y a beaucoup d'imperfections dans ce que vous êtes. It's not regular. Ce n'est pas régulier. Et c'est okay. And that's okay. That's all right. So, people expect generally an airy-fairy solution to this roller coaster. Les gens, ils attendent une espèce de solution féerique et miraculeuse à cette espèce d'accident permanent. Et une recette pour le bonheur. A recipe for happiness. So, I've got a problem with happiness because many people sell you these days. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui vous parlent du bonheur et qui vous disent que le zen ou le bouddhisme, c'est un truc qui vous permet d'être heureux. People will say, tells you that zen or Buddhism is something that makes you happy. You're supposed to be able to make you feel happy. I don't agree with that. Je suis pas d'accord avec ça. I think zen is not about happiness. It's about truth. C'est la vérité qui est importante dans zen. C'est pas le bonheur. C'est la vérité. La vérité de votre beauté et de votre merde. The truth of your beauty and the truth of your shit. My shit, your shit. My beauty, your beauty. Cette vérité-là est importante. That truth is so important. Happiness? No. Again, this is how Dogen starts Valley Sounds Mountain Colors. C'est comme ça que Dogen commence le chapitre qui s'appelle les sons de la vallée, les couleurs de la montagne. Écoutez, je vais essayer d'être très lent. I'm going to try to be very slow. Très lent. Very slow. When we each get rid of our husk, quand nous nous débarrassons de notre écorce, we then are not restricted by former views and understanding. Nous ne sommes plus alors restreints par des vues passées ou des compréhensions passées. And things we have for vast kalpas been unclear suddenly appear before us. Et des choses qui ont été pendant des kalpas très très confuses apparaissent clairement devant nous. Clairement. In the very here and now of such a moment, dans le ici et maintenant d'un tel moment, the self does not recognize it. Le moi ne le reconnaît pas. No one else is conscious of it. Personne n'en est conscient. You do not expect it. Vous ne pouvez pas l'attendre. And even the eyes of Buddha do not glimpse it. Et même les yeux du Bouddha ne peuvent pas l'apercevoir. how could the human intellect fathom it? Comment l'intellect humain pourrait se le représenter? Donc voilà. You know, I like Trungpa very much. J'aime beaucoup Trungpa. Et Trungpa used to say, the ego wants always to go to its own funerals and see it. L'ego veut toujours assister à ses propres funérailles et voir, être en première place, là, les funérailles de l'ego. Oh, c'est extraordinaire, quel show. It wants to see the show of its own destruction. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. If the ego, si le moi, le petit moi, se voit mourir, sees itself dying, it's still there. C'est encore là, non? Hein? Non? Tu es d'accord? Okay? If you see I'm selfless, si tu dis je suis sans ego, I am enlightened, je suis éveillé. Is that awakening speaking? You say you killed it, but nothing has been killed. Still speaking, still pretending. C'est ça le problème. This is the problem. If the ego dies, if it has to die, we'll see later. The ego dies, well, it dies. That's it. It cannot say, I'm dead. There's no voice. Huh? There's no resurrection of the ego. It doesn't rise from the grave saying, I was killed. But you're still there. But no, I'm killed. No, I'm dead. No, you're alive. No, I'm dead. No, you're alive. Vous voyez le problème? Non, non, je suis mort. Mais non, t'es vivant, tu parles. Mais non, je suis mort. Mais non, non, je suis éveillé, je suis mort. Non. Ah. It's a bit ridiculous, yes, I know. Dogen says that when we get rid of the protection, the suit of armor, lorsque l'on se débarrasse de l'armure, des protections, quand nous sommes exposés, tout simplement, when we expose ourselves, d'une manière inconditionnelle, fully, unconditionally, alors on ne peut pas le voir, on ne peut pas le remarquer. We can't see it, we can't even notice it. On peut pas être le témoin. We can't watch it. We cannot be the watcher. On ne peut pas être le témoin, on ne peut pas le regarder. Ça ne peut pas se connaître. It cannot know itself. Comme les formes et les choses se produisent devant nous, nous les voyons comme Bouddha. As things and shapes are rising before us, we see them as Buddhas. The Hokyozanmai, the jewel mirror Samadhi, in the following poem, famous poem, dans le fameux poème du Hokyozanmai, il est dit, it's like looking in a precious mirror in which you see your own reflection. You are not it, it actually is you. C'est comme se regarder dans un miroir précieux dans lequel vous voyez votre propre reflet. Vous n'êtes pas cela, mais c'est vous. C'est vous. You cannot be it because that would be going down the path of self-infatuation. Is that English when I say that? Self-infatuation. This is me. You see the big me, you know. And because the self is totally forgotten, everything appears is Buddha. Donc, si vous dites que c'est vous, vous seriez alors dans l'espace de l'infatuation, du moi. C'est moi, c'est moi, c'est moi, c'est moi. Mais là, non, ce que vous voyez, c'est des Bouddhas. Donc, la boîte de choco tombe, Bouddha. Kyonin à froid, Bouddha. café est tiède, sympa aussi, Buddha. You see, things arise, Buddha. It's not about me. I'm not thinking about where am I in the picture? Où est-ce que je suis dans cette image? I'm not trying to find out and find a way to organize reality so I can appear. Hey, no. Hi, hi, and I bow, act, do. Donc j'agis, je me prosterne, je reconnais, je dis bonjour. C'est ça. Toujours Bouddha devant moi. Always Buddha in front of me. So you are not facing the mirror of reality to look at your own image, hunting yourself. Vous n'êtes pas devant la réalité pour vous chercher, pour chercher votre visage, pour vous chasser. You would be like the good old queen in Snow White. Vous seriez alors comme la vieille reine de Blanche-Neige. Mirror, mirror, tell me who is the fairest in the land. Miroir, dis-moi, quelle est la plus belle en ce royaume? C'est complètement ridicule. It's completely, utterly ridiculous. And that's what we do all the time. C'est ce que nous faisons souvent. All the time, it's an exaggeration. Souvent, très souvent. We do that. So you are not begging for feedback, a reflection. Give me back things. Huh? It's like Danny was saying. We're not asking to be given back. We just, hi Buddha. We say, I love you. We make tea. We work and we leave. On dit je t'aime, on fait le thé, on travaille et on s'en va. C'est tout. That's all. You're not going for approval either, which is terrible, you know. Vous ne cherchez pas la reconnaissance, ce qui est terrible, parce qu'il y a des gens qui ne vivent que pour ça. There are people living only to be approved. Love me. But it's very different, you know, there are two kinds of approval. Il y a deux appels de la reconnaissance. There is a little kid that's with his big eyes, big gulping eyes, and say, love me, look at me, love me. And there is love me. There is a love me that says, be my victim and I'm going to eat you up. Il y a un type, une nana qui dit, aime-moi parce que si tu m'aimes, je vais pouvoir te contrôler et te bouffer. Le petit enfant, il fait pas ça. Il est complètement ouvert. The little kid is completely open. He says, love me, because he means, I'm vulnerable. Come on, do what you want with me. Come on. Voilà, c'est ça. C'est pas la même chose. It's not the same. So this is a key. This is a key. This is so important. And Reb Anderson is one of the old guys of San Francisco Zen Center. Et Reb Anderson est un des vieux enseignants du centre de San Francisco. Hi. Il le dit, non mais, he says something absolutely amazing. He puts it in a nutshell, really. Listen, guys, because if you've got something to take out of all the shit I'm talking about, it's this. And it's not mine, it's Reb's. Si vous devez retenir une chose de toute la merde que je suis en train de vous raconter, c'est ce que raconte Reb. Parce que ça, c'est vraiment précieux. Il dit, voilà. Écoutez, la phrase qui résume tout, c'est ceci. I am not the universe, but I am the universe realized as me. I am not the universe, but I am the universe realized as me. Donc je ne suis pas l'univers, mais je suis l'univers manifester en tant que moi. Voilà. The poem de Dogen, Dogen's poem from a mountains retreat goes like this. Il y a un poème de Dogen dans la retraite de la montagne qui dit ceci. In a stream rushing past to the dusty world, my fleeting form casts no reflection. In a stream rushing past to the dusty world, my fleeting form casts no reflection. Dans le cours d'eau qui passe rapidement et qui va vers le monde de la poussière, ma forme flottante ne laisse aucune ombre. Of course, that's a great piece of poetry, yes. So you are hiking, you are in the mountains, not in the 13th century, but maybe tomorrow or in a weekday or in 2 weeks, or it was yesterday, I don't know. It could take place today. Ça pourrait se produire aujourd'hui. In fact, it happened 10,000 times today. Ça s'est produit 10 000 fois aujourd'hui. Parce que hiking in the mountain is here and now, where you are. It's hiking your mountain. La véritable manière de faire de la randonnée en montagne, c'est être vous-même, et c'est votre montagne que vous marchez, sur laquelle vous marchez tous les jours, 10 000 fois par jour. Donc en fait, c'est pas au XIIIe siècle au Japon, c'est pas des montagnes pour faire ça. Il faut simplement ouvrir les yeux et vivre. You just have to open your eyes and live, and you meet this. What's happening? In the stream gushing down, dans la rivière qui est jetée comme ça, il y a plein de trucs, qui passent. Il y a there's plenty of things floating. There are dead leaves, there's wood, it's dead wood, and it floats away. Et tout ça, ça passe. Toutes ces choses, les vieilles branches, les vieux bois, les vieilles feuilles, elles passent sur le courant de l'eau. Elles passent et disparaissent. And you see your face in there. Vous voyez votre visage, le reflet de votre visage là-dedans. Et ça bouge et ça disparaît aussi dans le mouvement de l'eau. And it moves, appears and disappears in the move of the water. But of course, the whole point is to express the beauty of this existence, floating existence. Le point important, c'est d'exprimer la beauté de ça. There's no solidity here. Il n'y a pas de solidité. There is no rock sitting. Il n'y a pas d'assise comme un roc. I used to think that we had to sit there then like a mountain. You know, something that cannot be pushed, moved. Something that was more solid, more stronger than anything in the world. J'ai pensé pendant des années qu'il fallait s'asseoir d'une manière solide, tellement fort qu'il résiste à tout. You see what I mean? You see this big mountain that nothing can actually reach and that cannot be put down. The first time I met Shodo, my teacher, la première fois que j'ai rencontré mon maître, Shodo, I sat with him for maybe 3 hours. On s'est assis pendant 3 heures, side by side, côte à côte. And then we had a tea in the kitchen, on the kitchen table. And his Japanese wife served us tea and biscuits. Et sa femme japonaise nous a servi du thé. And he looked at me and says, "What do you want? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? What do you want? Qu'est-ce que tu veux?" I couldn't answer. Je ne pouvais pas répondre. C'était très fort. Because I was stuck. J'étais complètement coincé. And he looks at me and he said, "You look like shit. You fucking mess. Look at you." Et il me dit, tu es vraiment merdeux. Tu es complètement bordélique, regarde-toi. Mais, okay, I know it's going to sound really, really weird. Was I there to be insulted? Est-ce que j'étais là pour être insulté? Non, 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 non. These words were not insulting. You know why? It was true. It was true. Je savais, enfin quelqu'un qui me disait ce que j'étais, ce que je ressentais. He was telling me exactly what I felt like. And he smiled and he said, you know, we can do something together. Tu sais, on peut faire quelque chose ensemble. It's going to be hard. Ça va être difficile. But it's possible. C'est possible. Okay? Shall we? On y va? And we started to work together. Et on a commencé à travailler ensemble. Donc c'était pas une insulte. It was not an insult. It was the shitty reality of the guy that was totally lost there. C'était la réalité difficile de ce type qui était perdu à cette table. And I remember I was totally comme ça sur la table. So he was not only talking about the fact that I was not up, balanced, but also I was obviously about to give up something for good. Donc, je reviens toujours à ça. I always come back to this Genjo Koan thing. Dogen, remember, says, driving ourselves to practice and experience the myriad dharmas is delusion. Pratiquer par soi-même et expérimenter l'infinité des dharmas est une illusion totale. When the myriad dharmas actively practice and experience ourselves, that's a state of realization. Quand l'infinité des dharmas nous pratique et nous expérimente, alors ça s'appelle la réalisation. How to allow, comment laisser, how to allow the myriad dharmas to come and visit us. Comment laisser les autres venir à nous. Comment laisser tous les êtres sensibles venir à nous. Today, Dainin expressed it in quotes. Il a exprimé avec le cri, ce cri intrépide. Et alors, c'est très intéressant parce que it's very interesting because for most people, that shout is a sign of power. C'est un signe de pouvoir. D'accord? Teisho, you see, it's a sign of power and it's a bit threatening. Okay. But actually, he described it as a gesture of, I take everything I've got and I give it to empty myself. So it's not a sign of, I crush you. It's, I throw away everything I've got so I can invite you in. Please come. So apparently, it's a big thing, but actually, it makes you small. Completely small. So it's not, non, c'est pas ça. It doesn't attack. It drops. Ah! It's open, completely open. The way Chodo Cross did it was to say, you're a fucking mess. That was his quote. And he was also talking about himself. That's what I realized later. Because the teacher was talking about himself. He was seeing his reflection in the student. It was not about, I know better and you know nothing. it is not that. Not that at all. Alors, so if we repeat day after day what we think we know, what we think we should be doing, si nous répétons les jours après jour exactement ce que nous croyons savoir, we're going to build up habits. Hein? On va créer des habitudes. Et ces habitudes sont très confortables. And these are very comfortable things. Nous n'habitons plus le monde, nous habitons des habitudes. We don't live in the world, we live in habits. So we drink the coffee exactly in the same way. We meet the people in the same way. We say hello in the same way. We walk to the shop in the same way. We look at the bums of people around in the same way. We're looking for the same satisfaction. You see what I mean? On rencontre le monde exactement de la même manière, sans jamais se laisser surprendre. Never let the world come in and break this control we have. So when we give up the husk, when we let go of all things, when we empty ourselves, we meet reality. And it's beautiful. C'est tellement beau. C'est tellement fort. So strong. So beautiful. So true. So the core of Zazen, and the Zazen you practice here, and the Zazen you take into your life, is to get rid of these opinions about yourself. C'est se débarrasser de ces opinions, de ces représentations, de ces habitudes. To get rid of the pictures you've got, the habits you've got, the routines and everything. And you invite everything in. Everything. Everything. Including death, pain, loss. Surtout la mort, la douleur et la perte. Remember Marpa, the translator Marpa in the Tibetan tradition. Milarepa was studying with Marpa. Milarepa étudiait avec Marpa. Et un jour, les disciples de Marpa, the disciples of Marpa, see this big bloke, this big guy, I think he was a farmer of some sort. He was very strong, you know, down to earth. C'était un type qui avait les pieds sur terre. He's just, the face flooded with tears. Il était complètement, he just had lost his son. Il avait perdu son fils. Et donc, il pleurait. Marpa was crying. And the students are looking at that guy crying. He's a teacher, he's crying, he lost his son. But teacher, this is an illusion. The death of your son is an illusion. Mais maître, la mort de votre fils est une illusion et vous pleurez. Mais pourquoi? And Marpa said something amazing. It's an illusion, but it's a big one. That was Marpa's expression. So, did Buddhism give him the possibility to cut himself from pain, to play the superhero, the Batman of no, not at all. He was just crying like anybody else. Il pleurait comme n'importe qui d'autre. Nothing special. Rien de spécial. He was just taking it in. Not telling himself stories about it. Just taking the death in a raw way, directly. My son is dead. And don't tell me he's alive in paradise. I'm okay. I can just control this. No, I can't. That's raw. And if you are like me, you start to feel uncomfortable now. Because this is very, very difficult to accept. What? Buddhism is not going to help you to deal with pain in that way? I'd like to end up before we move on tomorrow on this article about Shuzen. You remember the article of Fushita Sensei, saying that Zazen was not about trying to do something. It was indirect procedure. So the Buddha is not somebody that is rehearsing Buddha. And okay, a Buddha should sit like this, so Buddha. No. The Buddha says, okay, what's here now? What am I sitting with now? Avec quoi je m'assois aujourd'hui? Ah oui, je mets mes jambes comme ça, je mets mes mains comme ça, je ressens mon corps comme ça se redresse, et puis, et voilà. So he is exploring completely. He's not sitting out of habit every time he is a beginner. Beginner's mind is not just a nice concept, L'esprit du débutant, c'est pas un concept. Ah ouais, beginner's mind. Ding! Beginner's mind. L'esprit du débutant, esprit du débutant, esprit. I remember a guy called Laurent Stream. Hello. Giving a talk on French television about beginner's mind. It was brilliant. C'était excellent. From the point of view, intellectual point of view, it was great. He went through all the aspects of beginner's mind. There was just one problem. The guy talking was not a beginner. The guy talking was obviously giving you his extended knowledge about it. So it spoiled it. But I enjoyed the talk. Thank you, Laurent. Merci, Laurent. C'était vraiment intéressant. It was very interesting. But I could see, je pouvais voir à quel point tu te gargarisais. I could see how much you were, full of it. Tu vois? Tu avais compris l'esprit du débutant. Once you say, I understand what beginner's mind is, when you say, I'm going to explain to you beginner's mind, it's gone. You lost it. So even the idea of saying, I'm going to make a broadcast about beginner's mind is a complete ludicrous idea. C'est complètement ridicule. On ne fait pas ça. You see what I mean? Donc l'esprit du débutant, dans la pratique de Dogen, c'est à chaque fois que vous vous asseyez, c'est complètement nouveau. Every time you sit, it's completely new. You rediscover this thing called Zafu. You experience gravity. You feel your knees for the first time. Please, don't take it for granted. S'il vous plaît, ne prenez pas les choses pour acquises. Ne vous asseyez pas en disant « Ah oui, je fais comme ça et ça va marcher. » You see what I mean? Allow yourself to say, okay, I don't know anything. What am I doing here? Qu'est-ce que je fais ici? Comment je vais m'asseoir? How shall I sit? Can I sit? No, I can't. Okay, so what's happening now? What's next? Can I answer? No. So, you see what I mean? Explore. Be awake. Be awake in the process of sitting. Be curious, open. Otherwise, you're just like a muscle spasm, a sum of habits. Vous êtes un spasme musculaire, une somme d'habitudes. And after 25 years of that kind of practice, you're going to be so rigid, so dogmatic, that nobody is going to be willing to sit with you. Personne ne va s'asseoir avec vous après 25 ans comme ça. C'est complètement dogmatique, complètement sec, completely dry. It's not. Deshimaru Roshi used to say, Zazen is not a dry fish, it's a living fish. He expressed exactly the same idea. But people thought, oh, that's a nice picture, Sensei. It's a nice metaphor. Yeah. What it means just be alive in your city, in your life. So the way to sit is to practice indirect procedures. La manière de s'asseoir réelle, c'est de pratiquer les procédures indirectes. Donc, est-ce qu'on rentre le menton? Do we pull the chin in? No. Straight away, no. Yes and no. Why?
The chin pulls itself in, we don't pull it in.
Thank you. That's it. And if it doesn't pull in, so what?
You allow it be its chin.
Voilà. C'est ça. Si la tête, if the head is perfectly balanced and at ease on top of the torso, it's going to pull in slightly, gently. It's not an thing that locks the head, create tension in the neck, goes into the back, flows into the arm, goes into the legs, and then into the brain, and turns you into a samurai and a Zen bodybuilder. Most of dojos in the West are bodybuilding spiritual places. You agree?
Yes.
So why do you agree, Kenny? Tell us about your experience.
Oh, because there are a lot of people who catch up this wave of mindfulness, and they go to meditation centers, which and these meditation centers adopt practices from Buddhism.
Donc en fait, il y a beaucoup de gens qui vont, en surfant la mode de la pleine conscience, dans ces lieux où il y a des pratiques bouddhiques qui sont empruntées et présentées à eux, adaptées pour les satisfaire, oui.
But they take away Buddhism
Et ils enlèvent le bouddhisme
and replace it with well-being
et ils le remplacent par le bien-être
happiness,
et le bonheur.
and they make you be mindful
Mm.
all the time.
Et ils vous demandent d'être conscient de ce que vous faites tout le temps,
Instead of just relaxing and accepting things as they are, which is very difficult.
au lieu de simplement accepter les choses telles qu'elles sont et vous détendre. Ce qui est très difficile à faire.
But that's why we practice. We practice to flow with things in life, not to act against them. And if you build a lot of muscles, sure, you can carry a lot of weight.
Elle dit voilà, donc si on crée du muscle, on va pouvoir transporter du poids, c'est sûr, vous êtes sûr, vous allez pouvoir faire ça.
But eventually it will break your back.
Mais ça va vous casser le dos.
So it's better to just be strong.
Donc c'est mieux d'être fort, ouais.
Which translated into what I am understanding now is that it's better to just live life and accept it as it comes.
Ah, donc c'est mieux d'accepter de vivre la vie comme elle vient, comme elle se présente à soi, ouais.
Instead of carrying things by lifting mindfulness weight.
Ah, plutôt que de faire du bodybuilding avec de la pleine conscience ou autre chose. Oui, ouais, bien sûr, ouais, c'est un peu ça.
Oui.
C'est même assez bien vu. Ok. Alors, je voudrais dire juste une chose avant de vous quitter, et après on pourra ouvrir la discussion, c'est sympa d'en parler un peu. De vous parler de ne pas savoir, not knowing. Je sais pas. Alors, est-ce que je peux parler de sais pas? Non, je vais pas faire mon Laurent Stream. Ça n'a pas de sens. Ce que je peux dire, c'est que quand on vit sais pas complètement, on est parfois vraiment comme un paumé. On est perdu. When we live, I don't know, fully, we're completely lost. So can be very scary. We have these moments in life when things hit us. On a ces moments dans la vie quand les choses sont très dures et nous frappent, ou avec le maître quand il nous cuisine. On arrive à un point où le sol se dérobe sous les pieds. We have no more ground under our feet, and and this is c'est un peu paradoxal, because if you experience it, and I'm sure you did, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here with me, and I wouldn't be sitting with you. It's such a difficult place to be, and it's such a comfortable place too. It's both, right?
I have to find this somehow share it with you, because a few years ago there was a little comic strip, a tiny one, just just like Calvin and Hobbes type thing, and I just remember what it said. I don't even have the picture, but the first little picture was maybe it was two people and an animal, and it says these people 3 minutes after falling into a bottomless abyss, and they're like, it's like falling into a bottomless abyss.
Il y avait une bande dessinée avec 3 animaux et 2 personnes, et le titre c'était 3 minutes après tomber dans une abysse sans fin. Il y avait l'image.
And then the second one, something like paraphrasing now. 1 year after falling to the bottomless abyss.
Un an après.
Yeah. I actually need to think about that. I'm like, how can you keep falling? At some point, you would have to stop screaming, because in some ways nothing's happening.
But but I think most of the part is that you stand on a cliff, and just the fact that you look down, see nothing, and you go with your foot like and then you don't even really jump. Like
Souvent c'est comme ça. Elle dit, on est au bord du précipice, on met le pied, on voit le précipice, on a tellement et on veut pas y aller, et en fait on est effrayé. Mais but what happens if you really jump?
Well, after a while.
Yeah.
With no hindrance of mind, there's no fear, says the Heart Sutra.
Yeah. Alors on va s'arrêter là aujourd'hui. I'm going to stop there today, and I'm so grateful that you are so patient, because I'm trying to speak 2 languages, and I'm sure that I'm not speaking them that well, but j'essaie de parler 2 langues, et c'est peut-être pas évident, et je ne parle probablement pas très bien l'une et l'autre, mais en tout cas voilà, le cœur y est, et j'aimerais tellement, c'est mon souhait, et de toute façon c'est tellement évident que c'est ça, c'est devant moi. It's my wish, and it's so obvious that it's becoming real. But we are not into a bodybuilding community. We're not in a Zen bodybuilding community. Because every one of you is so different. When you go into this bodybuilding community, they all look like each other. You know that, hein? Tu sais ça, Danine, ils se ressemblent tellement tous. T'as vu ces mecs? Il n'y en a pas un pareil. Et c'est pas simplement l'effet aftershave, hein? C'est pas simplement, it's not the shaving effect. It's not because you shave your head that you look like each other. It's because they look like when they walk, when they talk, when they behave. They're like, hein,
It's a bit like having it reminds me, a bit like having a kind of scaffolding when you build a house.
Ah oui, c'est comme, il dit c'est comme un échafaudage, un peu quand on construit une maison.
You get the scaffolding, you build the house.
Voilà, tu mets un échafaudage, tu construis la maison.
Then you fall in love with the scaffolding.
Et then tu tombes amoureux de l'échafaudage.
The house is there, but you just don't take the scaffolding down, it stays there.
Ah, c'est ça. Il says, voilà, il says, this is a bit like this.
Wow.
Tu as besoin d'un échafaudage pour construire la maison, donc la maison se construit. Généralement, après, tu te débarrasses de l'échafaudage, mais là, non, tu le laisses, parce que tu es amoureux de l'échafaudage. Et ce qui se passe avec ces pratiquants de 20 ans, 25 ans, 30 ans, c'est qu'ils ont gardé l'échafaudage. They kept it. They kept the scaffolding. So they look.
So you get a row of houses with just scaffolding on. You can't see the beauty of the houses.
Yes, donc, all you see from outside, hein, tout ce que tu vois derrière, dehors, c'est en fait, c'est les mêmes échafaudages.
C'est cool.
Qui cachent en fait la beauté et la différence des maisons.
C'est une très belle image.
Hein?
Et
Very beautiful picture. You see, philosophy is helpful sometimes.
He's a great philosopher. He doesn't believe in philosophy.
Le problème n'est pas qu'ils ont un échafaudage. C'est vrai, ça.
People build a stand on and they outside the
c'est que, comme pour eux, cet échafaudage est la vérité,
Yeah.
qui n'ont pas fait le pas d'aller derrière l'échafaudage, détruire la maison,
Ouais.
ils imposent aux autres d'en rester à l'échafaudage.
Donc en fait, il n'y a pas de problème avec l'échafaudage de toute façon, mais comme pour eux c'est la vérité, cet échafaudage. Oh, sorry. Sorry, yes, thank you, thank you. He says there's no problem with the scaffolding anyway. The problem is the attachment to the scaffolding.
Yes.
We need a scaffolding, but the truth is the house. So, and the problem is that they impose other people to stay at the scaffolding level.
Mm.
So you know the story of Bodhidharma. I give you my skin, I give you my flesh, I give you my bone, I give you my marrow. They are just at the level of the skin. That's it. In that way, we can say that. But that is even too dualistic, because the level of the skin is great, and it contains everything else. So it's not even that. Même pas ça. Parce que le niveau de la peau est superbe, et ça contient tout. Ouais, l'image est très belle.
Because it's inspiring. Because I was thinking another aspect of the scaffolding is also if you keep it on, you'll never find out if the house itself would actually just remain standing.
Voilà, et si on garde l'échafaudage, tu ne sauras jamais si ta maison va rester debout ou pas. Donc en fait, we don't build up sitting from outside in, but from inside out. Donc on ne s'assoit pas de l'extérieur vers l'intérieur, mais de l'intérieur vers l'extérieur. We know that inside out, outside in, it's just words, but it helps us to understand something. I often use the picture of a flower opening. We unfold the sitting just like a flower opening. On s'assoit comme une fleur qui s'ouvre. Donc on déploie l'assise. We unfold the sitting, we don't fix it. Voilà. Et ça c'est très important. Today, aujourd'hui, I had the same experience as dining. We were having problem with our back sitting. A bit, no? Yes, I had the same experience. And at one point, I don't know why, I just stopped doing anything, and a release happened, and everything opened, and it was super comfortable and super easy. But I didn't try to do something, because often the more you do something, the more you move the little leg this way or that way, the more it hurts more and more, you see. Plus vous vous arrangez, plus vous manipulez, plus vous ajustez, plus ça fait mal. The thing is to trust the process, to trust the flower, and to let it bloom. Et ça s'ouvre. Et le patch marche, en fait. Nickel. C'est super sympa. Hein?
Grave.
Grave, hein? Ouais, c'est vraiment bon. I bought a patch from Japan. They love these things, you know. And you put it on the skin. And when it really hurts, it helps. Because, yeah.
It warms up, does it?
No, that doesn't warm up. It actually, they are just analgesics in it. And then, of course, you relax and you let it open, because the pain stops you from opening. This is a dead circle. You know, the more you feel pain, the less you open, and the less you open, the more you feel pain. So, escape pain? No. Just allow it, or let things open. Anyway. Mais merci pour cette image. Thank you for this beautiful picture. So, do we have to help these guys to drop the scaffolding?
Well, they're so in love with it, that's the trouble.
Yeah, and it's none of our business really. C'est pas notre boulot.
It's their house, only they can remove it. It's their house, only they can remove it.
Yeah,
Even if we wanted
c'est
to,
leur
we
maison,
can't.
c'est à eux d'en prendre charge. On a très envie de les aider. We feel we'd like to help them.
It's like a love affair, isn't it? You know, you have to find out for yourself that it's not the right thing. Nobody can tell you that somebody's not right for you.
It's a grown-up business.
Il dit c'est comme une histoire d'amour. Il faut vraiment que tu fasses l'expérience de la relation pour savoir si c'est pour toi ou pas, quoi. C'est un truc très personnel.
The little chicken wants to hatch. There's no point in hacking into the eggshell.
Yeah.
Because you might actually do much more damage than good. because that might just die or something. So,
Yes, if you force si tu forces l'œuf à éclore, tu peux faire plus de dommages que. Ouais. Le problème qu'on a, Danine et moi, et que moi j'ai plus parce que je m'en fous, et Danine a abandonné. Mais c'était on trouvait que c'était triste. It was very sad, we thought, for others, because we see these beginners coming to practice and they meet scaffolding.
Non seulement,
Oui,
en plus ils viennent prêcher dans nos propres sanghas
and they come and preach
pour
in our
dire que ce
sangha,
que nous enseignons, c'est de la merde.
and they say about what we do, it's shit, it's not true.
Et ils mettent la confusion dans des gens de sincères et de foi.
And they put confusion in the mind of very sincere people.
Hein, Guillaume.
Guillaume, par exemple, one of his students. Oui, bien sûr. Mais ce que j'avais répondu à Dainin, c'est que Guillaume, il s'est prêté au jeu, d'une certaine manière.
Il a joué, oui.
Il a joué. Voilà. Okay. So I think again we come back to yesterday. What we can do is just with something with our life. That's our business is to work with ourselves and to make the Dharma work. And then if it works for others, it's none of our business. We just do our business. On s'occupe de nos affaires. Et c'est assez. It's enough.
Mhm.
Vous voyez, quelque chose comme ça, something like that. D'autres remarques, contributions, other observations, or
Sorry, I should have told you I was 6. Yeah, sorry. Okay. It's just after 6. Yeah. It's quarter 15 minutes past.
6:15. Tudor Cross used to terrify everybody. Tudor Cross faisait peur à tout. People were like that.
Were you scared of him?
No, never. No. Jamais. Jamais. Parce que je ressentais de l'amour. I could feel love. But when he went too far, a bit in a crazy way, I just told him, that's enough. And there was this, but we needed to part. That was important. Mais non, jamais, jamais peur. Il était incroyable. Il était d'une générosité, mais en même temps d'une précision. He was so precise and so generous. So the way to love you was not to say sweet things to you. Oh, you're beautiful today. You're very nice. He was just telling you what he was seeing. And what he was seeing was also himself. So there was total clarity. He was uncompromising. He was so honest. C'est tellement honnête, tellement fort. He didn't like the art slicker I was. Il n'aimait pas les lécheur de cul que j'étais. He used to think that my kindness was a bit too much. But I'm really genuine when I'm kind. Really genuine. And I'm really weak, and that's okay. I accept it.
But this is the meeting between the student and the teacher happened there, whereas those that were scared, it didn't happen.
Yes, that's it.
And there's nothing more to say other than that.
Oui, c'est ça. Donc en fait, il dit que la rencontre entre l'élève et le maître, entre les deux esprits, s'est produite et il n'y avait pas de peur, alors que les autres ne pouvaient pas la rencontrer. Donc c'est une sorte d'intimité nécessaire.
Why does that make you weak? I don't understand.
Well, because in this life, really, in a way, yes. Dosho, I will presumably die with cancer, and I will die early. Whereas the people that are angry, spiteful, violent, will live long. les gens qui sont méchants, agressifs, vivent longtemps. Les gens ouverts meurent vite. You know, it's something I learned about living. If you see, if you are kind to people, if you are kind, open, your immune system is not the same. The immune system of the disgusting people, so-called disgusting, is so good. They never die.
Look at all the old Nazis. Think like, how many of those guys
Yeah.
lived to the 90s?
Les vieux nazis continuent à ils survivent, ils survivent, ils survivent. In my family, there was a lady, she was so in pain. But she was so spiteful, she was so angry. She had a cancer when she was 40. She already took 2 of her kids to the grave. She is now 92 and she had 17 surgeries. And she's part of my family. She kills everybody. Elle tue tout le monde. Elle est encore vivante. 2 de ses gosses sont au cimetière. Mais elle est vivante. Yeah, she's disgusting and she's alive. Her immune system is really wonderful.
That's because they consume other people.
I don't know.
They're vampires.
But that's what makes her weak. She needs to feed on people. She's weak. She's taking other people's strength, but inherently she's weak. I'm saying that's how I look at it.
That's why you look at it. I don't know really. I don't know.
Maybe there's a difference between, you know, weak in a sense how we see it ultimately, what is strength, and the other things just operationally in terms of having a body in samsara, you know.
Yeah, but I have to say, age, and there's so many ways to grow old. And when you see the face of an old mean bastard like I saw in Alsace.
Il dit voilà, le visage, quand on vieillit, le visage dit beaucoup.
It was a very quiet country street.
Yeah.
And myself and Isabel were pulling out the kids who were driving.
Yes.
We were driving down the road and they were coming out of the car park. And the Grand Mayor, the Pepe and Meme were, and he was going like this, right? Yeah. And he was about 100 years old and he was so full of anger.
Il avait 100 ans, il était plein d'agressivité, il sortait d'un parking.
He was preserved in his own juices.
Il était préservé dans ses propres jus agressifs. C'était extraordinaire. Oui. Mais
I don't agree with you in this because
je suis pas d'accord avec toi en ça. Écoute.
Because when I used to collect money on the streets, you know, at Christmas for, you know, charity for the Red Cross or something, you met those preserved in their own juices, and you also met beautiful old faces.
Ah, dit voilà. Quand je faisais un travail dans la rue, tu rencontrais effectivement des visages agressifs qui baignaient dans leur jus violent, et tu rencontres aussi des vieux visages épanouis.
And they were lights that shone with luminosity, that the fuel of that brightness it was so deep it had no end.
Ah oui, il disait l'énergie de cette luminosité qu'il dégageait était tellement forte que ça n'avait pas de limite.
And what was the fuel? You could use word like love.
On peut dire que cette énergie, ça s'appelait l'amour, peut-être.
And I remember as a teenager, I said,
je me souviens quand j'étais
when
adolescent.
I'm an old man, I want to be like this man.
Quand j'étais adolescent, je me suis dit, quand je serai plus grand, quand je serai vieux, je veux ressembler à ça.
I just think to me, if there was a woman who, like my mother, just uses people and she just sucks the life out of them. I just know that when she gets to that point when I think she
vampirise les gens, elle les suce.
But when she gets to that point, she's going to be terrified. She's going to be a weak, terrified woman who is going to be like, please give me any bit of whatever there is left. I cannot go. And that's when I see that underneath she is weak.
Ah oui, c'est ça. Et donc il voit sa mère comme très très faible. Elle vampirise tout le monde, mais il dit quand elle va s'approcher de la fin, elle va être désespérée parce qu'elle va chercher la lumière, elle va vouloir quelque chose, une réponse. Et en fait, elle est très très très.
But if someone can give.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is exactly like the woman you described.
Hello. But if you can give.
Bonjour, belle-mère.
If you can find a way to give part of you away, that makes you strong.
I often think about my mother-in-law. Sounds like this woman.
Je pense souvent à ma belle-mère parce qu'il décrit sa belle-mère comme étant aussi cette sorte de personne qui vampirise.
Great teacher. She sucks the energy. She's so full of hatred.
Elle est tellement pleine d'agressivité et de détestation.
Elle est très, vraiment méchante.
Elle est très méchante.
Really mean. And it's her last moments.
C'est en fait ses
when she
derniers moments.
sees that she is horribly and profoundly alone. When she sees what she has done
Quand elle voit ce qu'elle a
with
fait
her life.
avec sa vie.
And we contrast that with the Buddha says, his dying words, lying down, where you have to be a light unto yourself.
Ouais, il faut que tu sois ta propre lampe. Et c'est vrai que lorsque ces gens-là arrivent au bout, c'est vachement dur pour eux. Et ma grand-mère était comme ça. Hein. Ma grand-mère était terrible. My grandmother was like that. She was terrible.
So I'm just going to say, a day will come. I know this. That she will be like that.
Okay, but you see, Teisho, and you see, Yosa, my job as a guy, as a Zen guy, is to practice for these guys.
Yeah, hold on. I didn't let you finish.
So my grandmother is with me when I sit.
No.
The ugly people in my family.
But you didn't let me finish.
Yeah.
But even to this day, I can't give up on her because I know that at that moment when she is weak and she is going to be like this, I will be there.
Oui, bien sûr.
And I will hold her hand.
Tu seras là, oui.
After all these years, that she to this day causes me immense amounts of pain.
Yes.
I will go there and I
Yes.
will hold her hand until she dies. And
Je lui tiens la main jusqu'à ce qu'elle meure. Je serai là.
and as many people tell me that.
You see how lucky you were? You see how lucky you were?
Tu vois la chance que tu as?
You have a profound love that she would love to have. You are the lucky one.
The
Tu as
full
le-
life versus the long life.
Full.
So
Yeah.
You can have both.
You should thank her for that.
And she's your teacher.
absolutely.
So my daddy, your mother, your belle-mère, ce sont nos enseignants aussi. Ce sont nos maîtres zen. Avant de vous quitter, je voudrais vous dire une histoire parce que c'est vraiment un truc de fou. It's really a crazy story. The most touching moment I had doing takuhatsu, which is ritual begging in Japan, was that moment when I was doing it in Kyoto. Je faisais takuhatsu in Kyoto, dans une rue qui est très très commerçante. We were very commercial sort of place, with lots of people buying, and Japanese love buying all the time. And I was there. It was hot. I was sweaty, and no coin, nothing was coming into my bowl. Il n'y avait rien qui venait. C'est pas grave, on fait pas ça pour l'argent. We don't do it for money. We do it for doing it, for the sake of doing it. And I was doing it, and suddenly something appears before me. And it was an old man. C'était un vieil homme. Et ce vieil homme fait gacho. It was a boundless gacho. I'd never seen somebody doing gacho like that. And in front of me, doing this, you kidding? It's impossible. I'm a piece of shit. You can't do gacho like that. And he drops a 1,000 yen bill. Il lâche un billet de 1000 yens dans le bol. Mais selflessly, sans ego. It dropped itself. And he does gacho again. Il refait gacho. Et il disparaît. He disappears. And I'm here with my bowl, with my hat, with my straw sandals, with my koromo, with my kesa. And I'm not worth it. Je ne mérite pas ça. C'est pas possible. C'est pas possible. Je ne mérite pas ça. Moi, je ne mérite pas ça. I don't deserve that. And suddenly, cling. Ah, this is for the kesa. He did it to the kesa, not to me. He did it for my original face, not to me. Ah, I can take it. Thank you. Yeah. So they are beautiful people. Il y a des gens qui sont très bons dans la vie.
Sorry, I just want to say, I realized I was pointing at you, saying And I want to
J'ai
apologize.
réalisé que je te pointais et que je faisais ta da 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 à toi, et je voulais te présenter mes excuses parce que
Yeah, I don't mean to say you realize you've got love.
je voulais pas t'accuser.
You're so lucky. Your heart is full of love, and hers is so full of meanness. So, not for me to say. I'm just talking shit as usual.
We talk about this weakness too. You say that people say that you're weak, but I think that all day today we've said how weakness can be a strength.
Ouais, la faiblesse peut être une très grande force.
You should not worry about it. You know.
I'll be honest, until I came to Tree like I said, for my wife,
Jusqu'à ce que je vienne à Tréli.
and that's one of those situations where you love each other or you don't, we just did. But people would just either take advantage of that or they would be afraid of it.
Yeah, les gens avaient peur de cette
They would
faiblesse.
just like push me away and say you were just crap.
I know, it feels like we're long lost pals.
I know.
Oh,
Jan.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, that's come here.
Oh.
Never met in the flesh.
Oh, it's fine.
Practice for a long time.
Hey, how are you? Good to meet you.
Me too.
So bodybuilding, not bodybuilding. That's.
I know who you are.
I should get a bodybuilding done in Germany.
Nice to meet you.
We could sell it at some point.
Sounds very good.
Yeah, I'm sure that probably sounds not a big idea.
It's good to finally meet you.
So guys, I need to do a
Oh.
oh
man.
So I am going to go and meet people privately for not too long.